Hello, and on behalf of the Mindalia.com team, welcome. Today, Clara Martín is joining us to tell us about the importance of sensitivity when communicating with animals. Let's talk a bit about her before starting. Clara dedicates her life to creating a bridge of understanding between humans and animals. She teaches how to connect with animals and understand them clearly. So now let's not delay this any further and let's say welcome to Clara Martín. Hello, Clara. How are you? It's a pleasure for me having you here.
Thank you very much. It's also a pleasure for me. I'm really happy to be here and to be able to speak about animal communication. So thank you for the time and thank you for you be listening there. So thank you very much.
Well, I'm sure this conference is going to be really, really interesting. So, Clara, whenever you want, you can start. I don't want to spend your time, and I'll see you later.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, I want to speak about animal communication. I have been working in this area like more or less 8 years from now, but I have been communicating with animals since I was very, very little. So for me, it's like a way of living. And that's what I really want you to know from this conversation that we are going to have. It's very important, the sensitive and the way we look at the animals, the way we think that they are thinking about us, the way they feel, the way they express themselves. Because from my point of view, one of the things that I most see when I make consultation with other people or make courses or whatever, it's that our mindset is not correct with them. So we need to open our sensitivity to different ways of feeling, the way that they see the world, the way that they feel. That's really, really important. First of all, and I try to know everybody, communicating with animals is not a gift. It's something that you can train, it's something that you can open. And we used to do it when we were really, really little. First of all, is a kind of communication that is with telepathy. I know that the word sometimes is like, what, telepathy? Really? But it's when you are able to know what the other part is thinking or feeling. So it's not very strange. Sometimes we have this kind of communication, for example, with when we are thinking about somebody, and suddenly it's like, oh, a phone call, and it's that person, it's like, oh, I was just thinking about you. That's telepathy. So we are able to connect one each other, and we also can do it with animals. Also, it's easier to make it with animals than with other people because they're all the time communicating with us. But with the time, we have closed that kind of communication. And why? Because when we were living all around the animals and in the nature, and we needed to be connected with everything around, it was easier because you need to know what the animal was thinking in order not to be in danger. But now when we start going to the city or when we start going very close to people and far away from the nature, we close that kind of communication. And we start thinking about the animals like kind of objects. I know most of people are going to say, no, I really love my dog, or I really love my cat, or I really love my horse, whatever. But it's not a great way of loving, because in most of cases, we need that the animals do whatever we want to do. For example, a dog have to be like 12 hours at home while we are working. And when we come back, everything has to be okay. It has no trouble at home, no trouble when we go out with the dog. Everything is okay. The dog can't bark, because if the dog bark is like, oh, don't bark, please. You have to be like patient and you have to be in calm. And it's like, it's not possible because they're having 12 hours with that animal alone at home. So sometimes we think that animals have to do some kinds of things that are not in the way of living of they are. You know what I mean? So the way of thinking of them like an object is something that has made that we close our mindset and close our heart to the way they have to explain and the way they live and the way they see the life and all the learning that we have from them. For me, animal communication is not just a job, but it's also a way of inspire people to know that there is a different way to see the world. And they have wonderful world of emotions, feelings, the way that they see the nature. They make sense of everything. The way that they think is the same the way that they feel, and the same way that they act. And sometimes that's for the way that we live the life is not normal, because we used to think one thing, then feel another, and then act in a different way. So when we have animals, we are all the time seeing what they are feeling. And that part makes our heart block, because it's like, oh my God, I can be the way my animal is. And I can work in that way, or I'm not able to think about what this animal is feeling, because sometimes it makes me feel wrong. So when I speak about opening that sensitivity, is in order to know that our feelings are okay, and they are trying all the time to help us with that part. And that's the most difficult part, because most people, they don't even know that the animals have the same emotions as we have. So it's like, okay, my animal needs to go out and make friends and have their food and go to veterinary and all of that, but they also need our validation, and our look at our animal and say, okay, I know you are feeling things that I'm not able to know, and I know that you really need to feel in that way, and I'm going to go with you and say, okay, your feeling is okay, and I'm going to help you to understand this human world, because we can't forget that they live in a human world, and for them it's really, really difficult. Why? Because we all the time, we are working on time with the stress. We all the time running from one place to another. We don't have most of the times like a good feeling of the day. Like, I'm okay, I'm feeling okay, I'm really glad of my life and my job and my family. We all the time running, and that's a problem. That's really a big problem, and they affect our animals because they live with us. The sensibility is like, uh, I don't know if it's stronger, but at least it's like they have more truth in their sensibility that we have. We have a sensibility, but it's like we try to hide it. No, it's like, I feel sad, but I'm going to make that I don't feel sad. And my dog is like, I feel sad, I'm going to feel sad, and you're going to see me feeling sad. So it's okay. And I don't mind feeling in that way. So that's one of the problems that I have with animals and people. When they talk to me, when people talk to me, they're all the time like, oh, my animal have a problem, but I'm okay. I don't know why, but the animal, for example, is like, is all the time barking, or it's not able to stay at home when I am out, or whatever. And it's like, okay, it's your problem. It's like, no, no, it's not my problem. It's the problem of my animal. It's like, no, it's your problem. But you have to know what your animal is feeling. And you need to know that that feeling, it goes with you, because they are like little children. When we have a child at home, and if we work with stress, and if we go like from one place to another, and we don't have an order, and we are not able to express ourselves with the truth, the child is going to say it is something that is not working at home. My dad or my mom is not okay. And they start to making different things, and they start to maybe not be as good as you need it to be. So with animals, it's quite the same. When we have a problem with the animal, the problem is inside of us. And that's the part that people don't want to see. And I know it's hard, because sometimes it's like culpability. I really feel really bad because my animal is bad, and it's because of me. And please tell my animal that he or she doesn't need to take that part of me and help me with that. It's like, no, it doesn't work in that way. Because people think that animal communication is that you speak with that animal and say, okay, now you are not going to bark, or now you're not going to feel bad, or now you're not going to feel that you can't stay at home alone. It doesn't work in that way. You speak with the animals, feel what the animal is feeling, because it's not just knowing in the head, knowing what is happening, it's feeling what is happening in in that part of their life. And after that, when I know what is happening, when I feel what is happening, I speak with the people in the family and say, okay, the problem is that one, and the animal is feeling in this way, and we need this other thing. So what can we do to make a match between what animal need and what you don't want to see? And it's like, okay, I don't know, we have to make like in the middle something that works for both parts. And that was how animal communication works. When I say it's not a gift, it's nothing, because people think that, oh, you have to be born with that, and then you go all through your life with speaking with animals, and you go in the middle of the mountain and suddenly a bird say to you, oh, hello, how are you? It's not working in that way. Okay, we born with capacity of communicating with our mother with telepathy. But then we start speaking and we start like blocking that part of knowing what the other person is feeling or thinking or whatever. And we start more speaking than feeling. And then we start at the school and it's like, oh no, a good child doesn't cry, or a good child is not angry with anybody. It's like, no, we have feelings and we need to feel that feelings, no? So when we are very little, they block us the part of telepathy. They block us the part of feeling or be able to express our feelings. And that's why we lose the capacity of communicating with animals. But it just, you need to remember in the course, when I make the courses with people, it's like I make them remember when they were little. I make them remember when they are with their dog or with the cat and they're in the sofa, just watching TV, and suddenly they heard in their mind, I don't have water. And they go to the kitchen, it's like, okay, the dog or the cat, it doesn't have water, And it's like, how did I know that my cat is like, because you feel it, because that information is all the time. But most of the time we are looking for the mobile phone, social media, and we are all the time like getting information to the brain. And the brain have a capacity, but it's not big enough sometimes, because it's like you have a lot of information all around the day, and the brain have to say, okay, this information, it's priority because I need to go to the work, I need to drive, I need to know where I'm going to have for lunch, for dinner, whatever. Not the main information of the day. And then you have other information going around you, like the Wi-Fi, for example, or information of people talking around you. But the animals is the same. It's just information. When I say to my brain, okay, this information, what animal is talking to me, I really want to know it. I really want to put this information in this block that is like, this is the main information of my day, but also what my animal is saying, it's main information in my day. So you can train it. That's the way, just to train your brain to make another thing. That is like, okay, this information for me is really, really important. And I really to have this information in the first row of everything. It's like over here. So when we make exercise and when I speak with people, we have more or less three problems. The first one is like, I'm all the time with my mind, with lots of information, walking around and thinking lots of things. So I'm not able to switch off a little bit, just in way to open to another kind of information. That's the first one, the stress. The second one is like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong when my animal tell me something that it's not okay. Instead of thinking, okay, now I'm going to know what is wrong, and I'm able to change it because now I know it. It's like, oh no, oh my God, I don't really want to know it. I don't really want to know what is happening. So I prefer just to be blind to the situation and just keep walking and not thinking about what is wrong. But what happened with that is that when something is wrong, with an emotion is not okay inside of us, it goes in two ways. One is you can get sick, or maybe you can have different problems in emotional way, It's like dogs barking, be afraid of everything, cats pee where they don't need to pee, all of kind of things. Is like, okay, there's a problem with where we are living and a problem with the family, or they get sick. So I don't really like any of both paths. I prefer when they start barking and things like that, because when they go to get sick, it's like it's worse, because uh, it means that the body is hurt by the emotion, so it's not okay. And the third one, it's what we were thinking about animal communication before we know that we can talk to animals. You have lots of imagination, and that's not possible. For example, imagine your parents is like, no, you have a lot of imagination. This girl is all the time talking to animals, but she's little, so it's okay. It's the imagination. She will grow up and she will forget it about it. Or are you crazy? You're going to talk to animals? That's impossible. What do you think you are? You think you are Dr. Dolittle, or what's wrong with you? So that kind of things, that it's what people think about us. It's also something that make us not able to communicate with animals. But once we pass through all of it that we make in the course, this is like we are people speaking with animals and knowing what they are feeling, what they are thinking about. So if I can do it, you also can do it, and the other person is doing, and the other one, and the other one, and the other one. And nobody here is going to tell you that you are crazy. So people is like, they feel like safe, and it's like, okay, I can open my heart, I can open my mind, and I can work in this way. After that is the way of, okay, you don't need to feel guilty. You need to feel like you are able to solve any problem. Any problem. Once you know the information about your animal, once you know what's wrong while you're living, once you know what the animal is feeling, if you really love that animal, you're going to be able to change it. So that's really nice, because now you have the information. Before that, you don't even know what's happening, but now you can know it, but not also know it, that you can feel it. So you are going to have much more information about it. Because when we all only know, it's like, okay, I know you're sad, but I'm not sure if you are sad, angry, or sad because you feel lost, or sad because you feel that I'm not understanding you, or what's really happening there. But when I'm able to feel your feelings, something inside of me changed like that. It's like I'm able to feel you, and I don't really want you to feel in that way, because I'm feeling in that way and it's not good for me. So if it's not good for me, it's not good for you. I'm unable to go from one part to another part and make things go right. So for me, it's like very helpful, and I think it's a good path to go through, no? But most of people used to be like afraid of knowing that they are doing things that are not okay. And we say, okay, we are human, we are learning. Our animals really know that we are learning. So they don't like, oh my God, look at what she's doing about this. Oh my God, it's horrible. No, they are all the time looking at us like, I really want to send you a message. I really want you to understand. I really want you to understand me. I really want you to understand yourself by seeing me, how I react, some that different things, because they make us a kind of mirror. So when we are bad, they are bad. When we are feeling like we have to be all the time in a hurry, they feel the same. So that kind of mirror is really helpful, not only to know what they are feeling, but also to know what we are feeling inside. For me, being with animal is like growing together. It's not like my animal goes in one way and I go in another, because everything goes like in the same vibration. When I meet somebody, or when I'm living with an animal, or when I live an experience, whatever, is because in my frequency, in my vibration, it goes in that way. So my animal is here to teach me something, but it's not teaching like an obligation, he or she had to. Excuse me, I don't use it for animals. I know this is the correct in a grammar way, but I don't really like it. So I use he or she. So she or he has to show me something because it's something I have to learn. But it's not an obligation. It's like, no. What is going to teach my animal to me? What I have to learn? What? Ask him what I'm going to learn about it. It's like, no, what? You just need to see the animal, and seeing and listening and opening your sensitivity, you are going to really feel what is happening. And you're going to learn a lot about yourself, a lot about your mindset. What are you thinking about? Because most of the things we are feeling is because we are thinking about it. So when I'm thinking about why I'm feeling about different situation, am I in the present? I am working with coherence and thinking, feeling, and acting in the same line. Most of the times we are not. I'm unconditional with the love I feel. I think they are very good masters, but they are very good masters because of this. Because they don't need, for me, animal communication is to inspire. It's not to impress anybody. I don't need to impress the people I talk to, or for example, people in the park when I go with my dogs, and it's like, oh, what do you work? And it's like, no, I work with animals, and I don't explain much things. They see like animals come to me and they stay with me, and also animals that sometimes feels fear to another people. Is like they comes to me and they stay with me. It's like, oh, do you work with dogs or something? And I start speaking, but I don't want to impress anybody. It's like, for me, it's a way of being. And that's why I try to speak to people, and that they know is something that can change your mind, can change your heart, can change the way you see the world, and understand that the world it's that we work in group. It's not just the humans raised in one place and the animals in another, and the minerals in another, and nature, whatever, here. It doesn't work it that way. We are a team, and what the animals do when they are living with us is trying to make a team with us, a team that is okay, like, I know what you're feeling, so I'm going to show you what you are feeling in order to correct yourself, to try to help me, and to make a great team, and then make a change, a big change. So people that comes to the course, it's funny sometimes because they, first of all, when they come, is like, we meet everybody like, oh, hi, my name is Laura, and I'm here in the course because I need to know what's happening with my cat, because he had a lot of problems, and sometimes I think that he is angry, whatever. No? So after the course is like, I used to ask them, what have you learned about the course? How do you feel after this course? And things change, because it's like, I thought I was thinking I was here because of my cat, because I was not able to understand my cat. But now I know that I was not able to understand myself, and that I was completely disconnected from my emotion. I was completely disconnected of what I was thinking about, and I have a complete disconnection of nature. So in some way, I have lost myself, and my animal is here to recover that part of me, and it's awesome. It's great to know that people make that kind of mindset just when they start feeling the animal, just when they start knowing that it's a different way of thinking and feeling. You need to know that the way they see the world, they feel the world, that hear the world, and the way they smell everything around them, it's much more powerful than our senses. Our senses like very little in comparison with them, because they see far away and they can hear lots of things and they can smell lots of things that we can't. They can also feel us in a different way. When you speak with somebody, it's like, hi, how are you? Fine, and you? Fine. And that's all. If it's a different relationship, like, I'm not really good, but I'm not quite sure if I can talk about it or no. And if it's a good friend, we say, oh, say, yeah, tell me whatever you have, what is happening with you and how do you feel. But most of the times we can. So I really want to know that animal communication is a different way of being, a different way of thinking. And it's a way to connect to ourselves. It's a way to know what is happening inside of us. It's a way to open our mind. It's a way to open our heart. And we are not also going to help our animals, that it's like the most common thing. Like, I wanted to help my dog. I want to help my cat. It's okay. But the fact is that we are going to change, and we are going to change a lot if we try to remember this kind of communication. Is going to open us to a new whole world. So I think it's a good choice, and we are now in a difficult moment in the world. So I think it's the moment. So now we are going to go to some questions. I'm going to answer you some questions. So whenever you want.
Clara, thank you very much for sharing your time and your knowledge with us. I knew this was going to be a very interesting conference, and of course we are going with some questions from the people watching us. If you agree, we are starting with Carol from Australia. She says, a few weeks ago, a dog attacked mine and ripped him off a piece of its ear. How to help our animals when they go through a stressful or painful situation and they are afraid?
Well, first of all, I think we need to understand that they are animal. So they work and think in a different way. For me, because I told you that we were like a mirror. So first of all, we need to keep calm and know that sometimes things happen because they have a problem and it's in a moment, and trying you to make that like the whole experience. It's like, no, this happened one time and it's not going to happen anymore. But we are all the time like afraid because we have like, oh, but that happened one time, so maybe it could happen another time. It's like, no. You just need to keep calm, to breathe, and to feel safe. And now that sometimes we have problem, and maybe they have something of a stress between of them. I don't know the situation exactly, but you need to know that it's just one time. And for them, each time is different. But most of the time they look at us and it's like, are you feeling okay? Are you stressed? Are you afraid? If you're afraid, I'm going to feel afraid. So they're going to be all the time looking at us. So we need to breathe and keep calm and go through like it doesn't happen. It's
Clara, let's incorporate into our conversation one voice message we have just received, okay? Let's start with it.
Hi, hello. This is Vanessa from Spain. Hello, Clara. So my question is this one. Time-wise, how much do you think it would be okay on a daily basis to practice so you can get a good level of communication with animals? Do you have to do it every day? You have to do it how many hours? How much?
Okay. Well, Vanessa, it's an amazing person. I really know her, and I have recognized her voice. So it depends. I always say that it's something that you need to do it from your heart. So it's not something that you have to do. It's like, I have to make animal communication. You don't have to anything. You just need to feel if you want to do it that day or not, because first of all, you have to be okay. You're not going to do anything right if you don't feel right. So with people, I say, okay, you can do it once a day, perfect. You can do it once a week, perfect. Every part is different, and it depends of the person, it depends on the situation, it depends of the feeling, it depends of the energy, it depends of what you really want to do. But it's like, when you do animal communication, you really have to do it from the heart, and because you have that moment, and you're not going to be in a hurry, or you're going to be a phone call, or you have like 20 minutes. It's like, I can be here like 1 hour, relax myself, feel happy about doing it, and feel really comfortable with the situation. So it depends on the person, but at least I recommend like once or twice a week. It will be okay if you really feel it, and if you can that week, it's okay also.
Thank you, Clara, and thank you, Vanessa, for your question. Let's continue with Lillian Heptonstall from the United States. How do you receive messages from animals? How do you perceive them? Is it about sensations, voices, images?
That's a really good question because I didn't talk about it. So it depends. Okay, it depends. Sometimes it's like I see some kind of thing. Sometimes I feel I know something, but I don't know why I know it, but I know it. Sometimes it's like I heard something in my head, but it depends because we used to work with two high sense. Some people are like visual and they used to hear. Sometimes you feel something. It depends on the person and it depends on the animal. For example, if the animal is like very sensitive, you're going to feel emotions. If the animal is like very visual, you're going to see images. So it works in the two ways. So it's like how I receive and how the animal sends the information. And it's like a combo of everything inside of your head. And then you make a translation of that feelings. And because when I make the animal communication, like your animal told me, or he was talking about, but it's not exactly in that way. It's like a mix between what I see, what I feel, what I hear, and I make everything mix and then I translate it in that way. I hope I have answered that question correctly.
Of course you did, Clara. Let's continue now with a very emotional question, at least for me, from Carla Fernandez from Spain and by YouTube. She says, when I was young, I had to leave my 2 dogs in a shelter. I was immature and I didn't understand the responsibility that came with having animals. I thought I promised that I loved them very much and I still do. Many years have passed, but every day I feel guilty for what I did. I should have taken better care of them in every way. Could they forgive me? They are still alive. Do you think it will be a good idea to go to visit them sometime? Or is it better not to interfere in their lives again?
Wow, that's a really emotional question. First of all, you don't need to feel guilty because you were a person in that time and now you're a different person. So just you know that something has changed and now you will not do it in that way. I think it's just to feel okay with you. It depends if they are in the shelter. Well, I don't know. Most of the times, as I told you, that the best thing is to ask them. It's like we're going to ask them if they really want to see you or not. It depends. Maybe it can create some hope in them, and it's not okay. If they have their own house and they are living with other family and they are happy, I think it's a good idea. But if they are in the shelter, I think that the best thing they can do is find a family for them. Just work hard to find a really, really good family for them. I think it's going to be the best decision, and you're going to feel much better with that.
Thank you, Clara. Let's continue with Mariela Benavente from Los Angeles in the United States. Sorry, but I'm Spanish and I'm starting to mix all the accents. How can I teach my 9-year-old Paddle, I don't know if it's poodle or paddle, how to sleep outside my room? She has been with us for almost 7 years, but she don't like to sleep in the living room.
But it's normal. She is part of the family. So if she is part of the family and you are all sleeping in the same room, she's going to love to sleep with you. So the question I think is not that one. It's why do you want her sleep in the living room? Why? Why? Because something has changed. Because in that way, if something has changed, you can explain her. Okay, some kind of things have changed, so maybe you can sleep out here. But anyways, she's not going to understand because you need to know that when we do something with an animal, it's for the entire life. For example, my dogs sleep with me, not also in the bedroom, but also in the bed. It's like, and it's very small bed. So, but I try to explain with them. I'm like, okay, sometimes my back hurt because the space is very little and you're all the time moving in the bed. And in that way, they understand, like, okay, I understand the bed is little, but when we go to a bigger bed, we can be there. It's like, yeah, sure. So first of all, you need to know why you don't want that seed to live with you. That's the first question for me. And after that, thinking about how she's going to feel with that decision. It's like, it's fair, it's not fair. You have to see her point of view. But it's the way I think as animal communicators.
Let's go with another question from Vanessa Soto from Spain. She says, how can we be sure whatever we are getting is coming from the animal we are communicating with and not just from our imagination?
That's the question. That's the big question of everyone. Just practicing and having a feedback. Sometimes when I make animal communication, it's like, oh my God, I'm not quite sure. Also, sometimes I'm not quite sure. And I make like 5 or 6 communication in a day during 6 days a week for 7 years. So it's like lots and lots of communication. I'm sure of what I'm doing, my preparation, my meditation, my mindset, how I feel and everything. And I'm sure that way of working have a sense. And finally, it's like, okay, I have made an animal communication, but in between, I'm not quite sure what is happening. It's like I just go through and I try not to think and write down everything that it comes to me. And sometimes it had sense. And other times when I make the phone call to the families, like, oh my God, I'm not quite sure because this is crazy. It's crazy. So I start talking, it's like, okay, your dog has told me that, oh yeah, that's true, because whatever, no? So it's like, oh my God, it's okay. So you need to practice a lot to try to think that you are doing in the best way that you can. That's really, really important, that you're not going to impress anybody and you are not doing it because you need to have your ego big and happy. So it's just in order to help that animal. If you go through knowing that you are going to help that animal, it's going to work much better. I'm practicing a lot. Yeah.
Clara, let's go with one question more, the last one. From Lucy from Spain. How to teach something to our animals without losing patience with them? For example, my dog is obsessed with food. We can't get him to stop putting his head in the trash. He goes out a lot, he plays with other dogs, and he eats very well every day. So we cannot find out the reason why he behaves like this.
Well, first of all, you need to ask your animal, but I think it could be like 2 or 3 things, 2 different things. When you say that he eats very well, what do you mean? Because for me, eating well is having their own diet with real meat, real vegetables, very little rice, but different kinds of foods all along the week. Because when you are all the time eating the same, it's normal that you go through a restaurant, you're going to want to go inside and have something for lunch because you are having at home the same thing. So it happened the same with the trash at home. And the second thing is maybe that he's really wants to find food because for him or for her, I don't know if it was she or he, it's like very funny. They have a different way of seeing the life. So smelling something and finding it, and it's like a gift. It's like, oh my God, I find this one and it's really nice for me, and I feel really good because I'm able to find food. So you need to know if if he or she is having a good nutrition, really good nutrition, not the one that we buy in a veterinarian or in a pet food shop, And also if maybe he needs to use more his nose to make more exercise and find food, and there could be different kind of things.
Clara, thank you one more time for the knowledge you shared with us tonight, or this morning, this afternoon. It depends of the part of the world you are. But of course, I want you to feel really happy about this conference. So I have to tell you that there is a lot of people watching this conference right now from the United States, Argentina, Spain, the United Kingdom, Australia, or Cuba, for example. Thank you very, very much. And of course, I'm giving you a few seconds for to say goodbye, or for sharing your final thoughts with us if you want.
Thank you very much for you two. And I'm really happy to be here. It was very nice time. Now here is like 20 to 11 at night, so it's tired, but I'm really happy to be here. Thank you to everyone to listen, to make the questions. So I will be watching and I will see the question and trying to answer you in YouTube and everywhere. So thank you very much, because you have opened your mind and opened your heart. So thank you.
Thank you, Clara, and thank you, dear friends of Mindalia, for your patience, because we know we aren't English, but we are trying to do it our best to keep sharing all this information with all of you. Of course, if you want, you can enjoy this conference and all our conferences in Mindalia Radio, 24 hours of conscious content. And you can find all of this in our website, www.mindaliaradio.com. Remember also that you can join us through our different platforms and channels: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, VK, Vaun Live, and Odyssey.com. And before saying goodbye, I also want you to know that Mindalia.com is a non-profit organization, and you can collaborate with us by liking our content, leaving us a positive comment, subscribing to our platforms or different channels, like I said before, and of course by sharing this video with someone else. And finally, you can also donate through a link you will find in our website, www.mindalia.com. By doing so, you help us to keep creating more content like the one you enjoyed with us today. So having said all of that and feeling really grateful, I am ready to say goodbye, but just for now, until a next Mindalia live streaming. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.